Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the Toon Review YouTube channel. And, you know, the transfer window is definitely hotting up now. Of course, Chelsea throwing money around like it grows on trees. Arsenal this morning have been linked to another signing to try and strengthen their squad in the hope of winning the Premier League. For Newcastle United, it's very much a case of rumours of outgoings again, and there's only one player really for Newcastle who's made the media this morning, and it's a player that is very much linked with Newcastle throughout the window. But we'll come on to that in a minute. We'll also go through what Eddie Howe had to say in his press conference, but we'll start off with Chris Wood, and Chris Wood has confirmed his signing with Nottingham Forest. This is a loan deal until the end of the season with an obligation to buy. Now, what the obligations are, we don't know. Will it be goals or anything like that, or appearances? We're not sure. They haven't released that kind of information. All that we know is there's an obligation to buy, and he's on loan until the end of the season. Now, you know, I've made it quite well known that I don't think Chris Wood is good enough, certainly for Newcastle United. It hasn't worked out too well for him. Yes, he played a bit part in the relegation battle last year, scored a couple of goals, but really, for me, not good enough. But that's not to say that he's not a decent guy or anything like that, and I do wish him well at Nottingham Forest. And, he might go down there, prove everybody wrong, score a few goals and get them out of relegation trouble. But it's been confirmed that Chris Wood has now left the club and signed for Nottingham Forest. Now, this is an interesting one, and you can see there on the headline, Jonjo heading out. Now, multiple sources in Turkey are reporting that Jonjo is in talks with Besiktas. Now, I did report this earlier on in the week. There was a little whispers going around that this was a possibility of around about £2.5 to £3 million deal. Nothing was heard of after that. Then it's come to fruition again this morning. However, there isn't any reports from the UK media or Newcastle United themselves saying that this is a possibility of happening. Now, these multiple sources in Turkey are reporting that he's actually in talks with them. So whether that is true or not, nobody knows. However, would it be a good move for Jonjo? You know, he's got this thing in his contract where if I think it's 1 or 2 more games, he will get a year's extension. Would you like to see Jonjo stay around a bit longer? Do you think he's got something more to offer the club? Obviously, he's done very, very well since Eddie Howe came in, and this season's been a bit of a disaster because of injuries. But what do you think of Jonjo? Do you think he'd be good to hang around for another year? Or would you say, yes, take $3 million for him, wish him well, and off to Turkey he goes? Let me know in the comments below what you think about that one. Now, Freshneda, of course, the right back is very much the player that Newcastle United have been heavily linked with during this transfer window. And it seems that Liverpool are now stepping into the chase for him. They've declared that they're very much interested in the right back. However, it seems that Newcastle United remain the front runners. Now, just because Liverpool have entered the chase for a signing now does not automatically mean he's going to go to that club. It just doesn't happen anymore. Newcastle United are right up there when it comes for chasing signings and things like that. And they remain the front runners for him. Now, the other 2 clubs that, again, are pretty strong linked with him are Borussia Dortmund and Rennes in France. So, for me, Rennes certainly wouldn't seem like an option to me. Dortmund is a very big club in Germany, as we know, but Newcastle United's project is one that a lot of players are interested in. And if we can get this guy in as cover for Kieran Trippier, that would be fantastic. Now, Javi Manquillo, where that leaves him, hell knows. Part of the squad, yes, but third in line, do you think he's going to want to stay around for that? I'm not so sure. But Kieran Trippier, speaking of him, he did suffer a huge cut on his right foot against Fulham last week. Now, a lot of people, including us, said that he didn't seem like he was at his best. He was a little off. Now, that probably explains it. He did see the game out and finish it. And the good news is that he is expected to play against Crystal Palace tomorrow. But it's not 100% that he will. So that may allow Javi Manquillo to come in. But at the minute, it looks like Kieran Trippier will play. But let me know what you think about Freshneda. Is he certainly a player that you want? Certainly coming in at right back to help out Kieran Trippier. Would it be a sensible signing for Newcastle United? And finally, on the transfers, Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that the club that he expects to be most busiest on transfer deadline day is Newcastle United. He says they've got lots of irons in the fire at the moment. However, discussions are ongoing with players and may take us up to the transfer deadline day to bring the players through the door. Now, he did say players and not player. Now, Romano has been wrong before, but he's mostly on the ball with things like that. And we've all said, even Newcastle United, Dan Ashworth said, it could go to the wind, it could go to the deadline day with the negotiations, whoever they're bringing in. We know they need a replacement for Chris Wood. We know they need a midfielder, definitely, because the depth in the midfield is not there. We're an injury away from a massive crisis, if you ask me. But it's exciting for us fans because, finally we look forward to deadline day and something actually happening, which for me, under the Ashley era, and for you fans out there, it never happened. It was a boring day. Nothing ever happened at Newcastle United apart from outgoings. So this time around, let's see. But it's exciting news. Now, on to Eddie Howe's press conference. Now, as we know, Eddie speaks very sensibly during his press conferences, doesn't like to give anything away, certainly to the opposition managers, and he's kind of been the same again today. Now, he started off talking about Alexander Isak, obviously scoring the winner last week. He said, you can't possibly play Alex in a number of positions. He can play as an out-and-out number 9 and a second striker, like when he came on against Fulham. He can play wide, but it wouldn't be his favoured position, but he can play there. That versatility is one of the things that attracted us to him in the first place. I was really pleased with him last week. He energised the group. He came on and made a big difference to the team and scored the goal, which was a brilliant moment for him and hopefully one that he can really kick him on. He's trained really well this week. It's a case for me to understand his history in terms of length of time in which he's been out and build his training, because he's not really done too much with the team with the amount of games we've had. Now, you can take that either way, because Eddie we've all been talking about whether Isak is going to start tomorrow. Does he come in on the left instead of Maxi? We know he's played out on the left before. He likes cutting in and shooting and things like that. And he's certainly better at hitting the target than Maxi. That's undoubtedly true. And the fact that he could link up with Callum Wilson. Or does Eddie Howe change his tactics? Does he go 4-4-2 and things like that? We will never know what's going on in Eddie's head, but whatever they've been training this week is interesting. He's very, very much pushing the idea of Isak playing, and certainly, as he said there, in a number of positions. And for me as a fan, that's very exciting, because I want to see all our best players on the pitch at once, to be honest. Now on Sean Longstaff, who, of course, has featured very heavily this season for Newcastle. He started 20 of 24 matches, so he has been a very important cog, and Eddie Howe mentions that, in the team this season. He says, Sean's been excellent. He does a lot of hard work, tireless work for the team in every phase. We ask a lot of our midfield players, physically and especially the wide ones. Sean has played that role on the right-hand side very intelligently, and he's physically very good, tireless with his energy, and defensively very good, improving all aspects of his game. I think there's goals in him as well, and those will hopefully come in the future. But at this point, he's a vital cog in our team. When you go back to where Sean was a year ago, there was a lot of uncertainty attached to his future. He's Newcastle through and through, desperate to be here, but wanting to feel valued and wanting to see his path in his future career. What I did see was someone that was very committed and I believed could have an important part of our future. Getting the contract sorted was a really big thing, and that show of faith and trust helped him feel closer to the group. This season, he hasn't looked back. Now, we know that Eddie has spoke very, very highly of Sean Longstaff for quite some time now. Even when he came to the club, he was talking about Sean being a very important player for us. And we didn't know how to take that at the time. Now, whatever you think of Sean Longstaff, I think he's done brilliantly. I think the improvement in him, he's getting back to the sort of player he was under Rafa. And clearly, Eddie Howe sees him as an important player for us, clearly. So for me, keep going and working hard and learning under Eddie. Now, tomorrow at Crystal Palace, he's probably going to be thrown into the Bruno role, so that's going to be important to see how he does there. But he did it okay against Fulham last week in the second half. There's no reason he can't do it against Crystal Palace. But for Sean to read something like that from his manager is just going to be a hell of a boost to him. It really is. Now, on Crystal Palace, and of course, Crystal Palace have held Newcastle to 2 0-0 draws, of course, in the League and Carabao Cup at St James's Park. He says they're a very good team. The two games we've had against them have been very tight, although we've probably had the better chances in the first game, the league game, which we didn't take. The Carabao Cup could have gone either way, so now we travel to their ground, and that's always a tough place to go. It'll be a good atmosphere, and we go there in good form, but we don't underestimate the challenge. Patrick's a very good manager, and they've got some very dangerous players. So again, he's not really speaking out about any players that he's worried about or anything like that. Obviously, the likes of Zaha, Eze, Elise, things like that. These players will be a worried Eddie Howe, but he won't come out and say it. And again, it is going to be a very difficult game. We know what the atmosphere is like at Crystal Palace, and it's exciting. But you can find that live watch along tomorrow, starting at 5 o'clock with me right here on this channel. It is on TV, not with commentary off. Listen to me, and you'll get proper commentary, not this anti-Newcastle stuff. Now on Bruno. He said he was devastated to come off the pitch. I probably think he thought at the time he had serious damage to his ankle. The scan did come back with positive news, and hopefully it's not a long-term injury. We're still not sure when he's going to be back, but he's made good progress this week, and we'll have a constant eye on the situation. So it's very, very positive news about Bruno this morning, and thank God, because we need him. We need a player like Bruno, certainly for the rest of the season, and possibly the cup games. I don't think he's going to make the first leg at all. I think, realistically, by the sounds of what Eddie's saying there, he could be back for the second leg. I'd be amazed if he's there on Tuesday night. Certainly looking at his ankle, I mean, his partner obviously put a picture of his ankle was swollen, purple. It looked awful. So whether we'll get him back in the next week or so, we don't know. But it seems like positive news anyway. Certainly could have been a lot worse. We do know that. Now, on Chris Wood, of course, joining Nottingham Forest. At the time that Eddie was doing his press conference, Chris Wood was having the medical. Now, obviously, that's all been confirmed now. He said, Chris is having a medical with Nottingham Forest as we speak. He's been a huge player for us. He's been outstanding in every way because when we signed him, we were in a very difficult league position and he played a huge part on the pitch to help transform the team. This season, he's been excellent, both on and off the pitch in terms of his leadership and positivity, even when he's not played. So I can't underestimate the role he has played. It was a difficult decision because you have to take into account the player and his wishes too. But also, I think it's a very good deal financially for the football club. Now, what he's probably saying there is the money they're getting on a loan deal, plus the fact that his wages are off. We all know he's on extortionate wages, way more than probably he actually is worth. That's a given for me. However, he's not going to turn around and say, oh, Chris, he played nearly 40 games for us. He scored 4 goals. He just hasn't worked for him. He's not going to say anything like that in public at all. He's very dignified in what he said about Chris Wood there, and he's sort of sent him off with his blessing and said good luck to him, basically. I'm not so sure, about the excellent on the pitch. Maybe he's off the pitch, fine. If he's got leadership skills, that's fantastic, and he's done well in the dressing room. But on the pitch, I'm not so sure. But look, whatever it is with Chris Wood, he's now a Nottingham Forest player for the rest of the season, and we wish him well. I'm sure he'll try his best down there as well. But that's it for now. That's it for the Daily News, guys. Let me know in the comments what you thought about what Eddie Howe had to say today. Freshneda, Jonjo as well. Is that a strange one for you? Or would you wish Jonjo well as well? But time will tell on that one. But if you have enjoyed the video, guys, as usual, please smash that like button for us. It really, really does help the channel and its growth. And if you're new and like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button. It is free to do so. And also the bell, which will let you know when we go live, we upload, or we schedule in a show. If you're watching this on Friday, don't forget, 8 p.m. tonight, we've got TTR Friday. We'll be talking about more football news from everywhere around the league, including Chelsea spending, etc. And of course, don't forget the big football quiz at the last part of the show, when we invite you guys on to come and challenge one of the hosts with a chance of winning some prizes. But that's all tonight at 8 o'clock. But have a brilliant, brilliant Friday, guys, and we'll see you later. Take care.